PR Connections Radio presents
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub, we are going to be going over a hypothetical situation here and kind of be discussing, can it be possible to bring back a misfit? Is it possible to bring back a day one, a guy who had been with the Vegas Golden Knights for a couple of years, a fan favorite, and a guy who's currently playing with the Buffalo Sabres because of the Jack Eichel trade a few years back? We're going to be discussing, can the Vegas Golden Knights reacquire Alex Tuch? So we're kind of go over everything. I'll kind of give you a little bit of background on kind of what he's been doing out there in Buffalo, go over the money situation. We have all those numbers right here, thanks to capfriendly.com. And we're more or less going to go over the possibility and the probability of this happening with your Vegas Golden Knights. So stay here. We're going to cover all of that on this episode of Vegas Hockey Hub. Now, to establish this, what I'm going to do, Alex Tuch, is that I'm going to kind of give you a breakdown of what Alex Tuch has done as the 28-year-old, or as his birthday was earlier this month. Alex Tuch will end up being the 28-year-old Buffalo Sabres. He started out his career at the Minnesota Wild. He was a high draft pick by them. He gets brought over to the Vegas Golden Knights during the 2017 NHL expansion draft. He was part of the compensation the Minnesota Wild gave the Vegas Golden Knights for them to not take defenseman Matt Dumba. And when the Vegas Golden Knights acquired Alex Tuch, he played 4 seasons with our Vegas Golden Knights. And in those 4 seasons, he had 15 goals in his first campaign with the Vegas Golden Knights. That was the expansion year where they went all the way to Stanley Cup Finals. And Alex Tuch was a vital part of that middle six. He was that Energizer Bunny. He was that young, up-and-coming forward that kind of helped out with Eric Holla, and a bunch of those guys on the middle six. Year 2, Alex Tuch continues to progress with the Vegas Golden Knights organization. As all this information I'm getting from hockeyreference.com, he would be in 2018-2019 a 20-goal season for the first time in his career. He would get to the 50-point mark for the first time in his career and would get a double-digit plus-minus with the Vegas Golden Knights. So in his second year being with the Vegas Golden Knights organization, the 23-year-old would end up having an excellent season out there with the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, where the trouble kind of started with Alex Tuch was that in 2019-2020, he would suffer an injury and miss 40 games that year for Vegas. He would only score 8 goals on the season and would have a terrible plus-minus. So unfortunately for Alex Tuch, his season getting cut short there on his age 24 season. And then in his age 25 season and his final year being with the Vegas Golden Knights, he would play in all but 1 game during the pandemic shortened season, and he would end up having 18 goals in just 55 games. For comparison, when he had his 20-goal season, he did that in 74 games. So overall, his 4 seasons playing with the Vegas Golden Knights, and once again, Hockey Reference, I appreciate you giving me this information. He would play in 249 games for our Vegas Golden Knights. He would have 61 goals, 78 assists, for just under 140 points. He would also have a plus 22, and he would have around 70 penalty minutes with the Vegas Golden Knights. He could drop the gloves if he has to. Now, after those 4 seasons playing in Vegas, he would be in the blockbuster package that the Vegas Golden Knights would give up for Jack Eichel. Him and Peyton Krebs would go to Buffalo, and Jack Eichel, being the superstar that he is, he would come to Vegas. Now, everyone who's watching this and everyone who knows hockey knows what happens next. Jack Eichel, he has spent the last 3 years in Vegas lighting up the lamp and winning a Stanley Cup. But what has happened with Alex Tuch? Well, in his first year, he only played in 50 games for Buffalo, racked up a dozen goals, and just barely missed 40 points on the year. But you know what? That was shortened. All right, he had an injury. That was one of the main reasons why he got dealt, not just for the cap space and everything, but he also had some injuries. Year 2 with the Buffalo Sabres is when Alex Tuch became a star out there in Buffalo, as he would get 36 goals, 43 assists, and just under 80 points in 74 games for the Buffalo Sabres. He would have a plus 14, pretty much the best that he had done since that previous year where he had 50 points with the Vegas Golden Knights. And for the second time in Alex Tuch's career, he would actually be nominated for the Lady Byng and would get some votes, as he would be one of the people voted for the Lady Byng Award, which is for the Gentlemanly Award in the NHL. And then this final season for the Buffalo Sabres at age 28, Alex Tuch in 75 games for Buffalo would rack up 22 goals and 59 points. So it wasn't as great as his year before, but still a 20-goal scorer, still eclipsed 50 points on that top 6 with the Buffalo Sabres. And interesting enough, he would get a career high in 54 penalty minutes with the Buffalo Sabres. So in his 3 seasons so far out there in Buffalo, Alex Tuch would have 70 goals, 106 assists for 176 points. And this would be with 20 plus minus and 88 penalty minutes in just 199 games. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. This is his age 26, age 27, and age 28 seasons. Compare that to the 4 years he was in Vegas, which was his 22, 23, 24, and 25 seasons. And it's just kind of fascinating when you compare it side by side. Now, yes, with the Vegas Golden Knights, he played in 40 more games than he did with Buffalo. But if you look at the goals and everything, everything else kind of looks similar. He had 70 goals with Buffalo compared to the 61 he has had with the Vegas Golden Knights. He's racked up 106 assists with the Buffalo Sabres compared to 78 with Vegas. And he has had 176 points with Buffalo compared to the 139. So if you really look at that side by side, he was racked up 37 more points with the Buffalo Sabres in 50 less games. Remarkable job by Alex Tuch. So, looking at the stats and everything, I wanted to break that down just for a quick second, because where does the Buffalo Sabres go from here? What's going to be the situation in terms of their what they want to do with Alex Tuch? Well, to explain that, you would have to look at the salary and the contract of Alex Tuch, and we will do that in just a second here on Vegas Hockey Hub. Now, this information on Alex Tuch is brought to you by CapFriendly.com. And overall, when it comes to Alex Tuch, he has 2 years left on his contract. Ironically enough, in 2019, the Vegas Golden Knights signed Alex Tuch to a 7-year deal. that 7-year contract that he signed in Vegas with Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee is the contract he is still on to this day. Now, he has 2 years left on his contract. He has a $4.75 million cap hit, and he will be 31 years old by the time that his contract is up. So if the Vegas Golden Knights wanted to wait till free agency and give a 2-year grace period, they theoretically could do that. But I also have to remind you that when the Vegas Golden Knights signed this deal, he would be making $4.75 million this year and then $4.75 million the year after. So 2024, 2025, 2025, 2026. He also has a modified no trade clause in his contract. And I do want to mention that when it comes to that modified no trade clause, it has a 5-team no trade list. So unless he really doesn't want to go back to Vegas and their name is on the 5-team no trade list, that would be the only caveat as to how Alex Tuch doesn't get brought back. But let's say for argument's sake, Alex Tuch, the Vegas Golden Knights are not on that list, and the Vegas Golden Knights could find a way to make this happen. Now, looking at the Vegas Golden Knights cap space situation, it is not pleasant, but I also want to remind you what's at stake this offseason. Jonathan Marchessault, he's at stake. Michael Amadio, he's at stake. Chandler Stevenson, he's at stake. There are a bunch of players this offseason that are going to be on the block. Alec Martinez, he's going to be on there. You also have to remind yourself that there are some restricted free agents that are also going to be having to get taken care of by Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee. So let's just say that the Vegas Golden Knights know that 1 or 2 of their players are leaving this offseason, and it frees up the cap space for Vegas to go out and get an Alex Tuch. All right. Let's say that the Vegas Golden Knights, you have $5.5 million in to spend. Would you take $4.75 million of that $5.5 million you have available, and would you pull the trigger on an Alex Tuch trade, considering what he just did with the Buffalo Sabres these past 2 years? The fact that this is a guy who has scored 58 goals the past 2 seasons out there in Buffalo. It really just depends on A, if he would want to come back, and B, what would the Buffalo Sabres want back in a Alex Tuch trade? Okay? If they decided to trade away Alex Tuch, what would they want to make in that deal? Well, I've been looking at certain websites, and I've actually been looking at a bunch of research, and I have kind of come up with my own original trade proposal for Alex Tuch. Now, what I will say is that when it comes to a guy like Alex Tuch, what you're going to have to give up for him is essentially you're going to have to give up a high-ish draft pick. All right, that's what you're going to have to do. That is what the reality is going to be. Now, overall, when it comes to the organization and everything there, you have to look at what kind of draft pick would you be willing to give up. The Vegas Golden Knights are projected to have a draft pick that's going to be towards the end of the first round. It's going to be, in the teens. It's going to be in the 20s. Are the Vegas Golden Knights willing to give that up to the Buffalo Sabres? Will the Buffalo Sabres be willing to look at that as a proper form of compensation for a guy like Alex Tuch? I wonder if that would be a possibility. You also have to ask yourself, when it comes to a future first rounder after that, or is there a situation where the Vegas Golden Knights could try to make that work? Because you also have to remind yourself, this is a Vegas Golden Knights team that has been trading away draft capital and giving up assets like it is candy over the last few years. So let's say for arguments that the Vegas Golden Knights, they trade their 2024 first-round pick, and you give it up to Buffalo, and that's it for Alex Tuch. Well, excellent, great. How do? You get back Alex Tuch. It sounds like an amazing idea. But wait a minute. If the Buffalo Sabres traded Alex Tuch for a first-round pick, would that be it? Or would the Buffalo Sabres want a player back in that deal? Would a first-round pick be enough? Or would they sit there and say, hey, you have some young talent, and we want to get one of those guys? All right, you have to remind yourself that there is a middle six forward with the Vegas Golden Knights by the name of Pavel Dorofeyev, and he has been performing excellently, but doesn't have that high of a cap hit with the Vegas Golden Knights. What if they look at a defenseman like Caden Korczak and see him as a possible future blue liner the Buffalo Sabres could afford and would only have to spend about $900,000 in terms of cap space? So what I really think could happen here, and this is just my brainstorm, and this is what I see as a possibility. I think when it comes to Alex Tuch, what's going to happen with him is that you are going to end up getting a deal done where the Vegas Golden Knights are going to have to trade a young asset, and they're going to have to give up a second-round pick / future first-round pick to go and acquire him. Now, what I would do if I'm the Vegas Golden Knights is that I'm going to say, you know what? I will give you a prospect and I will give you a second-round pick on the condition that that second-round pick would be conditional, okay? Where essentially if you meet certain conditions, it turns into a first-rounder, but that would be a situation with Alex Tuch. Now, if that sounds too good to be true, it probably is, when in reality, if you really think about the Vegas Golden Knights and what they have at their disposal, I say that a prospect like maybe Matthew Chatterford, that would be someone you could use. Lucas Cormier, he's been a top defensive prospect. Maybe you could use him there. If somebody was truly desperate and they really wanted to get Brendan Brisson off their hands, they could try to go get him. So the situation with Alex Tuch really relies on what they are willing to do with their first round pick in the 2024 NHL draft. And secondly, if the Vegas Golden Knights can find a way to make it be a prospect in a second, or if it could just be a straight up first round pick for Alex Tuch. But either way, if the Vegas Golden Knights, should they reacquire Alex Tuch, the answer is a resounding yes. They should go out and try to reacquire him. And the main reason why is that this offseason, we are about a month and a half away. We don't know if Marchessault is coming back. We don't know if Stevenson's coming back. We don't know if Amadio's coming back. And that's going to leave a lot of depth at the wings. And that's going to try to create a problem for Vegas. And if you don't have all of those wings at your disposal, then it's going to end up becoming a problem for the Vegas Golden Knights moving forward. And despite the guys like Brendan Brisson and a Matthew Chatterford down below, there isn't any certainty that the Vegas Golden Knights can recoup if they lose X amount of guys this offseason. So, this was our video talking about should the Vegas Golden Knights reacquire Alex Tuch from the Buffalo Sabres. Now, I'm going to pass this over to you, and I want to know from everyone watching all around the world, should the Vegas Golden Knights reacquire Alex Tuch? What kind of draft compensation or what prospect compensation would you want to give up to go get him? And we're on all our social media pages at Vegas Hockey Hub. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're on all major platforms. We also have our website, www.vegashockeyhub.com. And we also have our prconnectionsradio.com, where we have all of our shows on the network and everything there. So until next time, we have a bunch of content that's going to be coming out here during the summer. Tomorrow's episode, we're going to be talking about your captain of the Vegas Golden Knights and what his future is moving forward. And there is so much exciting stuff we're going to talk about. and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. So we're going to do all of that here on Vegas Hockey Hub. Until next time, continue watching hockey, go support junior hockey, and go Knights, go.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.